Hello my sweeties and welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know me, my name is Celise and thank you for joining my spooky little family. In today's video, we will be talking about dangerous animals. Let's get into the video. Well, queens, it's officially summer, okay? It's hot out, it's humid, and we have this banger of a shark movie to talk about today because, girl, it's not your typical shark movie, that's for sure. And speaking of humid, give me 1 second because I really need this iced tea right now. So I want to give a quick shout out to Fangoria and my lovely friend Zero Gravity for inviting me to an advanced screening of this. Zero actually got to host the screening, which was really fun. Love seeing my girls winning. She was great, and guess what? The movie was great too. So I love that for us because, girl, so many of these shark horror movies just don't hit for me. You know what I mean? Like, there's only a handful that I really love because there's just so much trash. So with Dangerous Animals, I am so happy to report that we got something a little bit different. Directed by Sean Byrne, starring Hassie Harrison and Jay Courtney, Dangerous Animals follows a savvy and free-spirited surfer who is abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer. Held captive on his boat, she must figure out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks below. I am so happy that this was a banger. Girl, we are eating this summer. If this is how we are starting off strong. We got Bring Her Back and Dangerous Animals back to back. So this director, I'm actually quite familiar with. I have seen both of his other films. There's actually only one I haven't seen, but it seems to be a short film called Advantage Satan. So that one, I don't know if that's available anywhere, but that sounds kind of interesting. I did watch The Loved Ones many years ago. Had a good time with that one. It's kind of girly pop. And then I have seen The Devil's Candy, which I wasn't super big on, but I do have a lot of friends that really love that movie and appreciate it. It just didn't really hit for me. So I'm happy that Dangerous Animals is very much my jam. This is my kind of movie right here. Starting off, we obviously start off this movie very bright and summery, so I love that. Actually, one of my favorite things about the film is the opening credits. I love the font they use because it's just so fun and it's very summer, almost kind of like this Abercrombie vibe. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of what I was getting. So I was like, oh, that's cute. Love that. And once we get into this movie, it really just, it starts, okay? We get right into everything. So let's talk about our performances because they really are what carry this movie all the way through. Though I will say the script was quite good as well, so I'm really happy for that. I have to talk about Hassie Harrison, who plays Zephyr. I had actually never seen her before, so it was really nice to see a fresh face, and I immediately liked her. Like, I have to say, there's so much that they address with her character without really spoon feeding anything to us. There's a scene of her going to get some stuff at the gas station, and we kind of see essentially what her character is like. So I love that because it says so much by doing so little. And I just also love that she goes by her last name, Zephyr. I think that was really cute. And I actually have a friend who is very into surfing and he goes by his last name. So she reminded me a lot of my friend. Honestly, she just had that vibe down, that very surfer chill vibe. Now let's talk about Jay Courtney, who I really had a great time watching. I think he's absolutely a beast in this movie and he does such a great job at being hilarious and being terrifying. He's a really large man and he looks incredibly strong. So he already is intimidating, even though he kind of has this vibe that seems very, very friendly and nice. But then obviously as the movie goes on, we quickly learn that he is batshit insane. We actually learn that in the opening scene, which I won't spoil for those who haven't seen it because the film did just come out. But the opening scene was done so well, and all I'm gonna say is the use of Baby Shark. I absolutely loved that. I was not expecting to hear that song used in a horror movie like this. So that actually was really fun. I love the way they used it because it was hilarious and also terrifying, which I do feel like is hard to do. A lot of times people don't realize how hard it is to balance comedy and horror, and it really work because sometimes it can just be corny, but this time it meshed really well. Oh, I have to also talk about Josh Houston, if that's how you say his name. He plays Moses, and I actually really liked him. I had never seen him in anything before. It looks like he hasn't really done much. He has 4 films on Letterboxd. So I really liked him. I thought he had great chemistry with Hassie Harrison. I really loved their whole dynamic. I thought it was really cute. I, of course, loved every ounce of the romance that we get between them. And I wasn't expecting any romance in this movie. So that was a pleasant surprise. You all know that I am a sucker for romance. You guys know how much I love my rom-coms. I just love seeing 2 cuties that are really into each other and just really fight for their lives together. So that immediately, chef's kiss. I also quite enjoyed Ella Newton, who plays Heather. I thought she was really good, and I did like the difference between her character and Zephyr. I felt like there was a softness to her and more of an edge to Zephyr, so I did like that a lot, especially when they're first introduced to each other. I think it works really well. And now that we got those performances out of the way, let's dive into this story because, girl, there's a lot to unpack. So I was really surprised at just how insane Tucker is. Like, I guess, wasn't expecting him to be so crazy. So obviously he presents as very, very friendly, and he's got this shark experience where he kind of has people come in so that they can go in this cage and go see sharks. It really couldn't be me because I'd be way too scared to do that. But he does that, and then basically he tricks these people. I have no idea how this guy is getting away with it to the degree he had been getting away with it for, but whatever, you know. My favorite thing about Dangerous Animals and why it's so different for me compared to other shark movies is that it really isn't so much about the sharks as it is about this insane serial killer who has this weird fetish for sharks and seeing people die by sharks, I guess. I don't know, but it's clearly, very clearly some sort of sexual thing. At least that's how I read it, because the way he was just looking at everything was pretty disturbing for me. And not to mention, the scariest part of this film is actually him and not the sharks. So I really did love that aspect, because obviously we have films like The Shallows and like Shark Night and all these other movies, and obviously the main thing that is terrifying are the sharks. And while like the sharks are a little bit scary in this one, he really takes over for being the scariest thing in the movie. Another thing that I also really enjoyed about his character is that he kind of has this thing for recording these deaths happening. And it's really wild because he has like a whole VHS tape camera set up for this. Like, he calls these things like a show every night. Like, this to him is like what he sits and watches and eats dinner with. So it's pretty gross. He definitely is the scariest thing. I'm just saying, if I had to choose between a man and a shark, I think I am going with the shark, babe. What I also love that this movie does really well is that everything between Zephyr and Tucker work really well. I love their chemistry together in all of their scenes, but they have great dialogue back and forth. And of course, there is a lot of this alpha male ego that he is bringing. And she is someone that has no family, is pretty much on her own, is a surfer, does her own thing, but she has clearly been through some shit and she is a fighter. And so I loved their whole dynamic. I think it works really, really well. And she clearly doesn't take no shit. And I loved that. I do feel personally like I haven't seen really this kind of character in a horror movie like this since You're Next with Erin, who I think really challenges everyone and is clearly a fighter and knows her shit and is super prepared. So I'm a sucker for that. I think Zephyr is such a great character and she's very, very relatable. I related to her in a lot of ways and kind of almost immediately. And that's really what made me love the movie so much and stay invested, was her. And I love everything, again, that's going on between her and Tucker. There is so much tension. There's so much fight. And he is so challenged by her. So it's really, really fun to watch, honestly. While I don't want to spoil too much of anything, I do have to mention that there is an iconic dance scene in this. This iconic dance scene in here really reminded me so much of the dance scene that Buffalo Bill has in Silence of the Lambs. I thought Jai Courtney was really channeling that, and he ate, she ate, he ate, the shark ate, they all left no crumbs. So you know how I was talking a little bit about the romance between Zephyr and Moses? I loved everything because I kind of thought at first, with the way that the movie starts out, that Moses really wasn't going to be that important to the story. And I was pleasantly surprised with where the movie goes and how Moses kind of develops into the story. Like, my favorite thing is that he was just down bad from the beginning. He was ready to go to the ends of the ocean for her. Honestly, we all need someone like that, am I right? Now let's talk a little bit about the action in this movie, because this movie is absolutely action-packed. There are so many moments that you think that Zephyr is finally on it and she's almost there. The movie does a great job at kind of edging you the whole time. And it's crazy because normally for me, I would be absolutely exhausted by that, especially after a certain amount of times. But I was actually pleasantly engaged the whole time, and I was just rooting for her the whole time. The fact that the film takes place mostly on this boat and in the water, loved. I think we do such a great job with those locations. And this really is a movie that's quite small with, you know, a small amount of characters, for the most part, one location, which I'm a sucker for, and I think they do such a great job. This is a really great summer flick. I actually can't wait to watch this film again in the summer. I'm gonna do a whole thing, baddies. I'm putting it on the projector. We're gonna do some blue lights in here. I'm gonna make it very, very summer vibes. This is one of my favorites so far of this year. I think this just kills it. I also love that they included so many fun facts about sharks. They really did their research. And I love the shark in this movie too. He was so cute. He was just a little cutie. I will also say that I didn't really have a favorite shark horror movie outside of Jaws, really. So it's exciting for me to finally have one that isn't that. I was pretty mid on the shallows, but I'm so happy that we've got dangerous animals because it really does what I've been wanting these shark movies to do. It has a rich story. We've got really good characters. We've got a cool setting. The kills are great. The gore is great. This movie is sweaty. It's bloody. It's fun. And with that, I am going to be giving Dangerous Animals 4.5 levs out of 5. I think this is a great time. I think it's so much fun. If you haven't seen it yet or you've been debating if you should wait for streaming, I think you should absolutely go and see this with a bunch of your friends. It is a fun time. Now that it's hot out is the perfect time. Go do it up. All right, you guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe as it really helps me a lot. And be sure to click that little notification bell to be up to date every single time I upload. And let me know in the comments if you plan on seeing Dangerous Animals. If you already did, let's talk about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.